which stated that either ITC or depreciation could be claimed. So I didn't understand why either one
Okay,
of them.
okay, 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 okay. So, but surprisingly, I don't know why this message either I was not able to notice it, or uh, all right. Let me pick up the phone. But anyway, post this, I have heard it. I'll answer to that. I'll answer that. Anyone else? If there was any other question,
So I want to know about the
no, it's
process of
okay. No, no, Anamika, my question is, was there any question? एक सेकंड था इमरान मुझे फोन देना मेरा मोबाइल उठा दो apart from what question Arma posted, which I don't know, I'll once again revisit the data. When was it posted?
Sir, I think I posted it yesterday around 2 o'clock or so.
Okay, okay. It will. Apart from what Arma posted, was there any other question posted by any one of you? No other question was seen. So the conclusion that I am drawing, just listen to it carefully and let me know if you differ with that. Okay, okay, it was here only. Okay, so listen to it carefully and let me know if you differ with that one. There were two questions which one of you out of usually 80 of you who attend to the classes, two questions were posted. So my conclusion is that out of 8 sessions that we took, some could be about 40-50 slides, I don't remember exactly, discussed. Each one of that we have talked about is clear to rest of you. You have understood everything. Or your conclusion is different than mine. Okay, same for you at least. Good. How about you, Shamil? Yes, Shamil.
Yes, sir.
Switch on your camera. Do you agree what I have said?
No, sir. I didn't hear you.
So you did. I'll repeat. When there was no question except one or two, I can conclude that whatever has been discussed, you all have understood that.
Yes, sir. That's quite reasonable.
Good. Fine, fine, fine. It's very good. Then we will see what happens when some test or something formal, this test or anything takes place. Wish you all the good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Let me explain to what Arma asked. What was the first question was that how do we rectify the error of principle and compensating error? Okay, error of principle is the most difficult one to identify, but it is identified, no doubt. It is, located, it is traced. Let me take an example, or you can give me an example. I can explain that example as well. Let us say that the company bought machinery worth rupees 1 lakh. It spent 5,000 rupees on its erection, installation, etc., etc. But by mistake, these 5,000 rupees were treated as wages. These 5,000 rupees were treated as wages. Company should have added these 5,000 to the cost of machinery. Machinery should not cost in the books of account as 1 lakh, but 1 lakh 5,000. This is what should have been done. But by mistake, company added it to wages. What would happen? The cost of production will increase by 5,000 rupees. Wages that you pay to the workers for producing goods and services, you are treating them as this. Another wrong thing would be that as per law, the company is entitled to charge depreciation on machinery. This depreciation is treated as an expense. So depreciation should be calculated on 105, 1 lakh 5,000, not on 1 lakh. Now what will happen, because this is a small amount, it may perhaps be difficult to identify. I'm saying small. Otherwise, when the audit takes place, when the bills are verified, company will come to know that this bill was meant for installation of machinery and not for irregular wages. When irregular wages are paid, the procedure is that you count the number of hours a worker worked, his supervisor signs, maybe next manager also signs, okay, yes, somebody worked for so many hours and at the rate of this hour he should be paid, and at that point in time it may be detected. There may be several other cases wherein at some stage or the other it is detected. Now, compensating error, again very difficult to. Now, depending on the nature of error, it will be detected. Take for example that you paid somebody 900 but recorded 90. Now, this 90 would be recorded either in cash account or in the person's account. If it is recorded in the cash account, when you tally your cash balance, you will come to know that we made a mistake. If you recorded in the person's account, then naturally persons will either be underpaid or overpaid. So he will immediately come, as and when accounts are reconciled, as and when either you send him a reminder or he sends you a reminder, we will find out where things went wrong. We have paid him 90. Why is he claiming 81 rupees more? Isn't it? So if you record something wrong in a person's account, then he will let you know that you have made a mistake. Can we assume that we have recorded wrongly in the person's account of 1000 rupees, either under or over? Can we assume that the person will also recorded 1000 rupees less or more as we have done?
It is
No, sir.
It will go against cash. It will go against. You can assume, but it is least likely. The probability would be 1 out of 1000, isn't it? So at that point in time, it can be located, it can be found out, and it can be rectified. If you have any specific transaction in your mind about any or more of these errors, and you want me to explain how do we rectify those, come on, explain me, let me know the transaction, I'll explain to you. If not now, maybe whenever any question occurs to your mind, just post it in the group. Don't wait before you forget. Just post it in the group. And this is really surprising that how could I, ignore such a thing? I'll revisit the chat I have copied. Usually, after every now and then, I continue copying this chat history to a Word file, because every phone has a limitation of memory, so I can't hold several hundreds and thousands of messages from different people forever. So and thereafter I delete the messages, but the files remain stored. So I'll check the history of the chat that I have copied, and then we'll find out your message certainly. That is why I was asking you about the time frame, date and time. Second question was on about GST.
sir,
Yes.
actually, one more question. So, rectification of error of principle. So, sir, while we'll be passing the
Okay,
entry for rectification.
Once we find out what the error was, rectification becomes simple. Whatever we did, either we make an opposite entry depending on the error. Suppose that the example I gave you, we recorded the expenses as wages. So what entry we would have made? What entry we would have made recording wages in cash?
Wages account debit to cash account.
Wages account debited to cash account. Good. What entry we should have made?
So it should have been in machinery account.
Machinery account. So cash in
Yes,
any
sir.
case would have been credited, that we did,
Yes,
but
sir.
we wrongly debited wages. In order to correct it, we should
Pass an opposite entry first.
credit wages.
Credited.
We should credit
Yes,
wages.
sir.
So we debit machinery, credit wages.
Wages.
As a result, wages debit will cancel wages credit, and ultimate entry thereafter would become machinery debit to cash, which we should have done. Got it?
Yes, sir. Got it.
Okay. If still there's a confusion about any one of these, let me know. I'll explain further. All right. Then
And so
next,
in
yes,
case
go
of
ahead,
error
go
of
ahead.
In case of error of compensation, the same thing will be
Yes,
followed.
same. See, once you locate an error, its rectification is depending on the nature of error, rectification will take place. Just see what you have done. Next, what should have been done, and then accordingly take an action.
Okay, sir.
And
Thank you.
further, if still there are confusion, if still there are problems, you make a note of these. If this is a situation, what we should have done. You post this, you post those. I'll be able to explain. And by the way, the question that you posted, you didn't get any response from any one of you.
No, sir.
तो ये बताइए आप लोग, good 76 of you are present now, including me 70, so there will be 75. Tell me why is this group has been created? It's not for sending you happy Deepavali or good morning and Eid Bakra Eid, isn't it? It has been created to exchange your thoughts, your discussion on academic matters, especially concerning this subject. I also keep a watch. If somebody answers a question wrongly, I interfere. The correct answer should have been like this. So you should make maximum use of this group for learning. Okay. So next question was about the GST. You can claim input tax credit, then you cannot claim depreciation. Is that okay? Now, in order to claim depreciation, there are certain conditions. One, the most important condition is one has to be owner of that asset. Now, if you are owner of that asset, and the government also prescribes certain rates of depreciation. So if you claim both, it becomes a double counting kind of a thing. It will be recorded twice. Therefore, you are allowed to do it only once, either this or that. Just to you can remember, in order to avoid double counting, this is done. All right. And if you want to know more about it, just let me know the page number and the paragraph. If it is different than that text, because that page is not there in front of me, you can post it in the group. If it means something else, I'll go through it in detail.
So it was just mentioned in a line that either ITC or
just let me
depreciation
know.
can be claimed.
Just give me the reference. I'll be able to elaborate more if required.
Okay, sir.
Any other question if any one of you has?
Yes, sir. I asked about the RCM.
That I have explained to you. That I have informed you about RCM. See, the what you call the responsibility of collecting is passed on to the buyer. That's it. There's a possibility. See, I think I can give you an example of not your time, maybe in earlier time. There was a system of collect call. Collect call means you are making phone call, so you have to pay. There was a possibility, especially in the international calls when these were very expensive in India. There was a provision created by the government of various countries, including our country, that you can make a call, but the payment will be made by the one who is receiving that call. Who is receiving that call? So the people, let us say Indian, who had their relatives in US, used to make collect call. So operator there would ask, you are getting a call, but you have to pay for this. You want to receive. So naturally they will know that my mother is calling or friend is calling and all. They will say, yes, I am prepared to pay. So the conversation will take place and the receiver would receive the bill. Usually what happens when you make a call, you make payment, isn't it? But if the receiver declines, the payment will not be, the call will not be connected through. All right. Any other question?
So the process of recording GST transactions, sir.
Okay, process of recording GST transaction I explained to you in 4 steps. 1, you buy goods. 2nd, you sell goods. 3rd, it can be either way. That is, GST received can be more or GST paid can be more. If received is more than paid, it is to be deposited in a bank. If paid is more than the received, you claim from the government input tax credit. You might recall, if you are an observer on business news, that these news keep coming even today, that the people are indulging into fraud by claiming fake GST and paying fake GST. No transaction is taking place. Let's say two persons this are in collusion with each other, A and B. A raises a bill on B without selling any goods, and says that we have received so much of GST, we have paid so much of nothing. Everything is happening on a piece of paper.
Okay, sir.
The amount is being debited and credited, money is going into bank, being received from bank, etc., and there is no movement of goods. So, and they claim GST in worth crores of rupees. So these cases are usually always reported to the extent government can do, and then accordingly legal action is taken. So here, this much was required to be understood, and the procedure of debit and credit remains the same. When you pay, it is an expense for you. When you receive, it is an income for you. Accordingly, debited and credit.
Right. Yes,
And
sir.
what Kushagra was asking, see, when you buy goods, you pay GST. When you sell goods, you receive GST. So
Yes, sir.
when you are buying, so instead of paying, you transfer this responsibility to a seller. He will pay.
Yes, sir.
One of you was asking about earlier, because it has a relationship with that, I'll explain this also, about the nomination in a bank or nomination on the shares. When bank opens your account, it asks you to nominate somebody, and
Yes,
that
sir.
is a statutory requirements. You cannot say no, I do not wish to nominate. You have to, no choice. When you nominate, what is the intention of bank? Suppose for some reason or the other, maybe some death or something, anything which is a reality, what will bank do? How will bank settle your money? It becomes bank's responsibility to find out it. So in order to avoid that, bank says you nominate somebody. So you have nominated X. So for any other reason, if the account is to be closed, or you are not traceable, or then bank will transfer that money to the account of X. But the condition is that X will look out your legal heirs and distribute amongst them. So bank has passed on its responsibility to the nominee. For its convenience, it is doing so. Otherwise, bank will find out how many children were there and how many wives were there, who will get what, and etc., and accordingly bank will distribute. So why should bank enter into all these hassles? Instead, it asks you to nominate, and the nominee will be responsible for distribution of money transferred to his account to the legal heirs of deceased or any person. Okay. Next. Any other question?
So I have one more question, but I don't think we have discussed it yet in the class. So, which is why I deleted the message.
What was the
Actually, sir, you asked us to go through the material on page 63 to 72, right? So there was this trial balance on page number 69, and it had a suspense account in it, and I
Okay,
really couldn't understand how to treat it.
I'll explain. Better you ask, why not? Whenever the trial balance is not getting tallied, both sides are not equal. And accountant and all have tried hard. In earlier days, when the accounting was done manually, it was really a nightmare. I have seen the accounting practically also, having worked in an organization for 3 years. So I have seen how all these things take place. It was dreaded situation, very, very difficult when you don't get your both sides equal. You imagine a situation where there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of transactions, debit, credit, and total, usually manual total, no computers, no calculators. Let us say calculators were there. So if both sides are not equal, they will not wait till infinity. क़यामत तक थोड़ी इंतजार करेंगे. Accounts तो उनको close करने हैं. So after 2-3 tries, 1 week try, whatever, they will suppose the difference of 100 rupees on one side, they will write suspense account and 100 rupees in that side. Suppose debit side is 900, credit side is 1000. So they will write debit 900 rupees in the debit side, and will further process the accounts. Will prepare profit loss account, balance sheet, take balances, write next year accounting, continue till March, January, July, etc. But in the meantime, they will continue locating that error. and whenever they get, accordingly they will debit suspense account or credit suspense account, and there is a possibility that within some reasonable time frame suspense account balance becomes zero. There would have been one or more than one, several reasons for the suspense account, several reasons for this 100 rupees, 10 rupees here, 20 rupees there, 30 rupees here, 35 rupees there. So they will continue find out, and as and when they get, they will make the correct entry by adjusting in the suspense account. ये सस्पेंस अब दूर हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, अब भी सस्पेंस है ये.
Yes, sir, it is clear. So if we have suspense account balance in on debit side of trial balance, then it is a debit amount, which means it could be an asset
or expense.
Yes.
Asset or expense. क्या मानेंगे इसको? Asset मानेंगे, expense मानेंगे?
So we don't know what it is. We are तो हम चेक करेंगे, अपने assets भी चेक करेंगे, हम अपने
अगर आपने इसको expense मान लिया, expense मान के profit loss account में record कर दिया, what will happen? Balances will not be carried forward to the next year. If the balances are not carried forward to the next year, how will you come to know, or how will you keep a track if something was in suspense also? And moreover, 100 rupees seem to be small money, but if it is more amount, maybe 1 crore rupees, and you write in the debit side of consider it as an expense and record in the profit and loss account, you are lowering your profit by 1 crore rupees. Isn't it?
So we'll treat it as an asset.
Yes, and continue.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay, or
Sir, I have a doubt.
yes.
Sir, in one of the transaction level, like it is written at electricity bill paid. So, sir, the bill will be deducted from cash or capital of a company. Sir, I have this doubt.
It will be taken as an expense. Expense will reduce your capital. So one of the head will be electricity debit. You are paying in cash. Cash is your asset. Asset is decreasing. Therefore, cash will be credited.
Okay.
All right. Any other question?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes. Go ahead.
Sir, when the goods are mutually exchanged, like in case of certain transactions, there must be some transactions when services are exchanged or goods are exchanged.
Yes.
Then in that case, what will be the revenue, or is that that there will be any revenue or not?
Consider each as a separate transaction. Exchange means you are giving and you are taking.
Yes, sir.
Giving as sales, receiving as purchase.
Yes, sir.
As simple as that.
So, sir, we record both the entries.
Yes, you record both.
Okay, sir.
More questions from anyone else?
So during a cancellation, like you told me that last week, that when a good is cancelled, the supplier will,
Goods is cancelled or
like a person has returned the gift. So like the product. So you told me that there will be entry for the product is has been returned. So like something in that. Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Purchase return. Correct. There will be an entry for purchase return.
Yes, sir.
Right.
But sir, if there has been some amount that has been cancelled by by the supplier, by the person who has supplied the product, then what will be the entry in that case?
I didn't get you. Say it again.
Sir, 100 rupees का प्रोडक्ट था, बट द सप्लायर ने जिससे खरीदा था उसने 100 रुपीज में देखे 90 रुपीज या 88 रुपीज है, तो वो 12 रुपीज जो है वो कहाँ, जैसे वो रिफंड नहीं हुए, व्हाट विल बी द प्राइस, लाइक वेयर विल दे बी स्टोर्ड?
First thing is, if he bought goods for rupees 100,
yes,
he
sir.
returned for 90, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
That's all. You record goods for 90 returned and 10
yes,
is your sales. You will collect money from him for 10 rupees.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, one more thing, sir. Like that day as well, I asked you. So like these companies apply discount coupons. So like these are procuring materials from different vendors. So in what way they are like generating revenue?
They are supplying this. They will be getting it from the people whose product they are promoting.
Okay.
Whose product they are promoting, they are not doing it from their own pocket.
Okay, sir.
One thing that you have to remember for all your life, There are no free lunches. Luncheon, which you call. People usually say that internet is free. Is internet free?
No, sir. They're
Internet
consuming our brain. It's consuming our
is
brain.
free only because we are free. If anybody says that this product is free, this is free, then your time is the product. You are the product, isn't it?
Okay, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
never ever people will say you buy 2 get 3 and buy 4 get 10. These are all to, your marketing teachers will tell you more, but lessons from people who can learn from life is there is nothing, absolutely nothing, never is free anywhere. You are the product if that is the case. Any more questions?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No more questions? Okay, no more questions. Then I am posting a question in the chat box. Your honest answer will record your attendance as well, and then we will start the discussion. Look at the question I am posting in the chat box and answer honestly. The caselet that I have given to you, there's something talk about the proposal. The proposal had approval or not. Has everybody answered, or should I? So most of you have answered B, that is project proposal had approval of boss of Amit. Okay.
My apologies, sir. I just remembered one more thing. You asked us to remind, we were having this discussion on the group regarding a trial balance, and there was this point of an agreement that stated that the work has to be done before so and so time. And I said that if the agreement is made, then the revenue should be recognized. But you said that we'll discuss this point in the class. Just remind me.
Okay, we'll discuss it here. We'll discuss it here. Correct. Good. So most of you have mentioned that the boss of Amit had an agreement. Had an approval. Amit proceeded only after getting approval from his boss. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Fair enough. Before I take on this, let me just give you a reminder. I'm not going to give an answer for this, but I'm just giving you a reminder. In one of the slides, there was an error in recording GST. Somewhere it was 4,682, somewhere it was 4,842, something, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It was a mistake on the slide that some of you observed, and you discussed that in the group. Majority of you have written error of
Commission.
Error of commission.
Majority of you have written. Those of you who participated, you wrote error of commission. Right. Was it the correct answer, or still somebody wants to change the answer, or somebody has another opinion?
Sir, I think it is the correct answer.
You think it is the correct answer? Okay. Can you revisit the concept of errors and the trial balance? Just think of it. Concept of errors in the trial balance. Okay. So not. I have another take on this. We'll get back to you maybe after some time. Do remind me. Do remind me that your approach that it was an error of commission in the context of trial balance. All right.
Sir, in my opinion, it is compensating error.
Why is it compensating? Nothing is being compensated. I'm not making two mistakes, or have I made two errors? Anyway, you may be having your logic. Let me know. So then it is not an error of compensation. Compensating errors is only occurs when you make two errors in such a way that one mistake compensates the other. All right. So there was only one error. There was only one error. Because as and when somebody told me, I corrected that figure, though, therefore I don't remember what the figure was. Okay. Second thing, that when I sent you a message, before I take up this part, when I sent you a message in the classroom also I posted, and the in WhatsApp group also I posted the message. After maybe about 10 hours or so, I don't remember the time, Adil was the first one who pointed out that I have written 23rd instead of 24th. So out of 50-60 that you have posted, just continued writing noted. Did you really note? What did you note at all?
Yes, sir. Actually, we are thinking that you will be taking class yesterday.
No.
And after 10 hours, we realized that you are not taking class today.
No, Zumair, it is okay. But at the same time, if something is written and there is a mistake, not deliberately, innocently caused, I am also a human being, who stops any one of you pointing it out either in the group or privately?
Sir, actually, it was discussed in our own personal group, like the class group that we have. So we discussed it there. That sir might have made a mistake about it.
Then you don't.
Yes, sir. Exactly, sir. So we
No,
thought that
agreed.
it might be a mistake. So it was like a 24th, like it just by default. So that's why we did
Anam,
not
I
note it.
agreed. But the moment one of you came to know, you could have posted that there is an error. 23rd is not day 14, day 13. Day 13 would be on 24th, not on 23rd. So my impression was that the moment you looked at the message from me, last line saying that acknowledge this message, you just press a button, noted, and then continued. When A wrote noted, B also wrote noted, C also wrote noted, D also wrote noted, and continued. At times it is very dangerous. I'll share you an incident on this. In a factory kind of a setting, large number of employees were there. So they made a rule, if you are late beyond 15 minutes, then your salary will be deducted. But you have to write a reason why were you late. If your reason is genuine, management will consider and will not deduct your salary. So two ladies were late. So they were thinking what kind of reason should they write. So one of them suggested, let me at least write that I am in a family way and I went to attend to my doctor, therefore I was delayed. So nobody can question that. So she wrote that remark and she went in. So second also wrote the same thing, let it same as above. Then thereafter several young boys like you, they walked in and wrote the same way, that same as above. So they were called by the management, okay, were you in the family way? So they had no answer. So at least look at what is same as above. What did somebody write? You continued writing like this. So if there was something like that, at least you would have shared with me, we would have corrected that error. We would have corrected that mistake. So take that one, read carefully, and then only answer it. So we may now proceed to the case let that I have shared with you. You know the difference between a case let and a case?
No, sir.
Okay.
No,
Have
sir.
you discussed any other case in any other class?
So we have discussed another caselet in the class of concepts of management.
Okay. Case let is a very, very small kind of an incident or, like situation wherein in case a complete, very, very detailed, discussion takes detailed analysis is required, is supported by huge data. It's about to test your concepts and the application of those concepts supported by a data, supported by, I'm referring to especially in the accounting context. In the accounting context, so data related to balance sheet, profit loss account, any other thing, costing related data is given, and based on the analysis of the data, decisions are taken. This is about the case. In case of a case let, a small, very brief situation kind of a thing is there, and then you need to discuss the decision taken by the person in that situation. The decision was right or wrong in your opinion, and what could have been done. So the difference is of the size. It's very small and that's very large. Now come back to the caselet which was given to you. What is the, can somebody post in the chat box what is the main issue in the case? No, just 1 second. You all, yes, but kindly follow the same format. I am once again asking you to follow the format. For example, in the chat box, Saifali has mentioned 203B. I have been repeatedly asking you, when you write your roll number, give one more space, 203 space, and then start writing. See, it is almost impossible for me to do all these things manually. It will kill a lot of time. So if you do not occupy any space, system will put it somewhere else. 203, and thereafter system will put something else. Therefore, kindly follow the system. So now write your roll number. Yes, 132 and a space. Okay, continue. Whosoever feels whatever are the issues, post that in the chat box. After looking at 2, 3, maybe 5, 6, I'll stop. Okay. Continue. If you have, okay, whatever you have thought of in the caselet or in a small case, what is the issue? You may post in the chat box. One is posted by Adil, then Arma, then Tushar, Danish, Anas. Okay, Gulshan, you have not studied, no problem, but try to study, and then only then the discussion will make some sense to you. Merely your participation is not important, but also meaningful participation and understanding of what we are trying to follow.
Sir, I haven't
Yes,
took the class from
a bit louder. जोर से बोलो.
Sir, I haven't took the class from 12 Jan. I have serious fever, 103 and COVID-like symptoms.
तुम्हारी बिल्कुल आवाज नहीं आ रही. गुलशन, थोड़ा सा जोर से बोलो. तुम कम से कम अपने नाम की तो लाज रख लो भाई. गुलशन कुमार तो बहुत बढ़िया गाते हैं. अब गायब होगा ये. चलिए.
Sir, he was saying that he's got COVID symptoms and he's going to get tested.
Oh, so sorry. But anyway, how is he feeling now? How are you feeling, Gulshan Kumar? भाई तुम जैसे आदमी की डीपी देख करके तो नहीं लगता कि तुम्हें कोविड हो सकता है. नहीं लगता ना. अब क्या हाल है तुम्हारा? ठीक हो अब?
Sir, somewhat recovered, but not fully recovered.
बहरहाल चलो कोई हर्ज नहीं. It's not that dangerous. Continue following the advice of doctor whom you have consulted. You will be all well in about a day or two. All right. Now let us, whosoever wanted to post, I think has posted. We start the discussion. First, let me ask you a question on ethical part. What Amit did, was it unethical?
No, sir, not in my opinion.
Okay. Why was it and why was it not?
So he was simply generating revenue for the company. It was a good deal from a very good flight company. Moreover, the point that he included it in his contract, the deal, those people contacted Amit only. Amit was the person who brought them into the company's subscription. So he had a right to, complete his target using that transaction, using that, क्या कहते हैं उसको, transaction.
So your logic of Amit being ethical is dependent on, or is because of the fact that he had to achieve his target, isn't it?
Yes,
Sir, I don't think he was unethical, because actually it was also mentioned in the caselet that there were no other precedents before this which he could
Okay.
have followed, which is why he made a few changes
Another
in the
important logic that
contract.
you have put forward is that because there was no precedence, had he deviated from the precedence knowingly, how do we see the whole this thing in the context lies in the that did Amit do it knowingly or unknowingly?
But sir, it was the
knowingly.
need. It was the need of the hour at that point of time,
Okay,
because it
Sadia
was
is
a
saying,
very good.
who is speaking?
Sir, I was saying that it was a need of hour at that point of time, because
Okay,
it was a
okay.
very
Anything else?
good
Anyone
deal.
else about why do you think, like Adil has said or Arma has also said, that he was not unethical, he was ethical? Can somebody put forward any other logic?
Sir, I think he was ethical in his way because after seeking permission from his immediate boss, his director of sales and marketing office
Any
division.
comment to what Danish is saying after taking permission? Any comment on to what Danish has said after taking permission he did?
Yes, sir, that
Sir,
can be
he
taken into
He did
account
not, sir.
because
But
He did not
how
hide
about
this
this? How
information.
about this part which is mentioned in the caselet, that he made some changes? Were those changes significant that he made?
So the changes were that the contract required
Sanu
mutual
Rahman
billing
was
by two
writing, is
parties.
writing.
So cutting on payment of advertising and promotion expenses, I guess.
So
That is the
payment will
reason
be
for
made in
being
cash.
unethical.
yes, sir, no involvement of money, I think.
Hmm?
So,
So no
so payment will
involvement
be
of
made in
money.
cash.
They were also advertising for him, so he included that in the contract, I think.
No, sir. Both the transactions were recorded just how you told us. He said that we see in the last paragraph on page 73 that by the two parties at the rate that my company typically charge for similar advertisement with cash payment arrangement. हम उनके सब्सक्रिप्शन को रिकॉर्ड कर लेंगे उसी रेट पे जिस रेट पे मेरी कंपनी चार्ज करती है. And in order to settle the transaction, my company would record an equal amount of advertising and promotion expense. तो दोनों in money terms आ तो गए उसमें उनके accounts में.
Okay. We are for the time being concentrating on ethical part of it. Any other issue that somebody wants to bring in with respect to ethical part of the contract? That what Amit did was ethical. One of you has also put forward a logic. Had he not been ethical, he would not have spoken to his teacher. If somebody does something wrong, he or she will keep it to his chest, will not be discussing it with. So can this also be taken as an argument that he shared it with his teacher or anybody? So this is
Sir,
what
I
he
think it
did.
can be taken. Sir, I think it can be taken as an argument because, sir, in my perspective, if you are my teacher and I have done something, I think corrupt, to be
Okay,
precise. If I
without knowing the rule.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, knowing or without knowing, I would consult you, sir, to how to come out of it. I want to say that.
Okay.
कि सर मैं जाने अनजाने में अगर मैंने कुछ गलत काम किया है और क्योंकि आप मेरे उस्ताद हैं और इस ही डिपार्टमेंट में आपने काम करा है तो मैं आपकी मदद जरूर चाहूंगा कि अगर मैं इसे कैसे बाहर निकलूं.
Somebody throw some light on the accounting conventions and relate this case letter with one of the accounting conventions or more accounting conventions?
Sir, rationality.
Rationality. Okay. Any other concept? By doing so, did Amit violate any accounting convention? If yes, which one? Or take another question, what Amit should have done? Should at all he entered into this deal, or it is accounting wise, accounting convention wise is not approved deal, or given a situation that you also face a similar situation in your organization, you join a company like this, you get an offer, would you go ahead or you would not?
So I would, as
Sir,
per my current knowledge.
Okay, you would, you may put forward your arguments a bit later. Yes, Arma.
yes, so actually, I think the only mistake that Amit made here was that he discussed the deal with his superior, but before making the required changes in the agreement, he didn't discuss it or put forth the changes in front of his superior. So maybe if that was there as well, then this entire the questioning of his ethics and the rest of the things could have been avoided.
Yes, sir, agreeable. The case state says that it was a form, it was a subscription form which was previously already agreed upon by the legal team. This
Okay.
new form with the changes was not, shown to the legal team.
Okay. So do you think this is the only reason that Amit, had the changes also been approved or discussed, things would have been all right?
Yes, sir.
That is
Yes, sir.
that is the only conclusion or something else?
Not the only conclusion, sir. It
Okay,
can
what
be
else?
also one of the conclusions.
So the other conclusion could be that if he discussed these changes with his superiors, then the deal would have been cancelled. Like because the other superiors would have not agreed to it, agreed to the terms and conditions of the deal.
Don't you think it negates the argument put forward by all of you just now? This will be done only under an unethical situation, isn't it? If he
Yes.
was scared to discuss the changes with his superior, thinking that the deal would be cancelled, is he not being unethical?
So
Sir, at
that
this
implies
point,
that he was using it just to complete his target.
Okay,
So
okay.
that
Think over it.
complete
Let me. I'll go through. I'll put certain questions later on, but think over it. Whatever little has been discussed, it is enough.
Okay, sir.
To because it is already time is over. You need to join another class. So we'll continue some of the discussion maybe tomorrow, or maybe I'll post certain question around which you can answer. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
You can leave the class now because of
Thank you, sir.
time.
Thank you, sir.
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 Thank you.
My
Thank you,
pleasure.
sir.